Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast.
Now, get ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live Studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Oilers Live. My name's Michael, also known as Oilers Live. I've got my co-host, Dash in the Park, take our new and the old listeners on a trip on this Wednesday. Talk a little Oilers hockey, maybe some Kasperi, Kapanen, who knows, some Darnell Nurse, lots of different things we can talk about.
Home Depot, Bed Bath and Beyond. Who knows
Yeah,
if we'll have time?
Who knows? Good point. How you doing, Dash?
I'm good, man. I'm pretty good. I'm doing well. I got a lot of messages after the last show,
Yeah, nice.
and I would just like to say that a lot of them really enjoyed your guest and said it was probably the most handsome and intelligent that you've ever had for a guest last week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is not an easy thing. I love it. Some stranger. Hey. That, by the way, was never intended to be a thing for me. It just ended up being a thing, which is the great thing. Like, hey, it's Oilers Live. Appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, it's not easy to go 90 minutes thanks to some stranger and Quaddy and some of the folks that were tuning in and able to interact with. So much easier, of course, when you got a co-host, right? Somebody you can talk to, bounce things off of, argue, whatever, right? But it's
You do
fun.
like to disagree with me.
Experience. Yeah. Love to disagree with you. And it's just not the same when you're disagreeing with yourself.
It's probably very fair, Michael.
It's
Probably
not,
very fair.
It's just not the same. No, you know what? It was fun. It's a good experience. And one of these days you'll probably have to get on here, do your own show and fill an hour and maybe 90 minutes. And
someday I might. I hope not, but someday I might.
I think if I was to do it differently, I'd just have it was sort of last minute. I was kind of trying to find a couple different guests.
Well, it's my fault. It was last minute.
Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. It was fun, but I'd probably have a better agenda in mind, and but you have to, and that's our listeners and the folks that tune in regularly, like some stranger, you have to have these guys that are asking questions and in some cases chirping me in the chat, which is great. Love that. So thanks.
Somebody's got to chirp you if I'm not here to do it.
Well, that's just it.
Well, and when you were debating with yourself and arguing with yourself about the goaltending, which one of yourselves won that goaltending debate? You might as well fire it back up. Honestly,
I don't know. Is there a debate right now?
I don't know.
There's not a debate. I mean, it is. We've got our goaltenders. We're not. Are there?
Yeah, dude. It's out there. There's a narrative because trade talks are firing up, man. The rumors are out there. They're flying. People are dropping hints. We got Saravelli with a target list. We've got Freeman out with a target list. So we've got,
Gee,
you
I
know,
must have missed something
there's
today. I've been
trade targets there, and
all day and-
everybody that seems to want to stick another defenseman with the Oilers seems to be countered with another person that wants us to get a goalie. I think it's pretty solid and clear that like we're with Skinner. Like that's our ship, swim or sink. Float or sink. I guess ships don't swim, but that's our guy. So yeah, I think that's the way it's going to be there. But like honestly, I see where the noise comes from. I mean, when you're dead last and expected saves above, or when saves above expected, pardon me, your goalie is 5-0-1 in the games that he has a save percentage above 900. We all know Skinner can't win you a game. He's not that goalie. He usually plays up to his team's level. His team's been pretty erratic, and he's been pretty erratic. But yeah, goalies be goalieing. I think if we have better D and we have a more solid system and a better PK, then
I mean, that's
Skinner's stats start to get better, and he looks better, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let me say something right this. I know I haven't let you talk a lot yet, but I had to get this out. I've been quiet for 2 weeks. Look at this was the point in time last season. It was game 19 when we lost 3 in a row, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Game 19 was Washington when we started the first streak. That was game 19 and 20 that we just hit. Montreal and Ottawa. Right? So we were saying all the same things last year. That is the disappointment, some stranger. It's very true, but Oilers be Oilerin', man. What are we going to expect? Our team never does it the easy way, right? So like here we are. So is our team going to start playing a better system like they did last year at game 19? Right? 8-game winning streak, lost 3, then 16-game winning streak. They're 24-3 at some point right after game 19-20. So let's see if this is last year's Oilers now. Is this when Skinner starts to heat up? Is this when the team starts to heat up? Not when we had injuries, because last year we didn't have injuries. This year we got injuries.
Who's got
by the way, who told you we'd have injuries this year?
Yeah.
Me.
Well, I mean, you're going to have a couple. I don't know that we've had anything major yet, except for Nurse. Nurse is a pretty big
Nurse,
one.
McDavid, Hyman.
Yeah. I mean, McDavid was a couple of
Arvidsson.
days. What's the word on Hyman anyway?
Well, he left.
Anything?
Didn't play the third. I don't know if that
I
was
mean, I don't. I really didn't
we
read
had the
much
game in
into
hand,
that.
but
Yeah, like he wasn't doing anything, and the Oilers were clearly going to win that one.
just hope it's not more than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's for me. That was not my.
You know what I really like? I had a bit of an epiphany, and maybe this is just like I'm dumb and I haven't been able to see it. I've been looking at the trees instead of the forest. But the last 2 games have honestly been a microcosm for our team. Right? Look what we did against Montreal. Poor team, can't score a goal, shut out. Goal lead, whatever the hell you want to call it. Right? And then the next game, we just walk out. Our stars are everything to us. 3-point games for all the boys. And we make it look easy. That's our team right there. Bouchard against Montreal gets turnstile. Bouchard against Montreal might have cost us a goal. Bouchard against Ottawa. Wow. What a goal. That's Bouchard in a nutshell. Sometimes he costs you games. Sometimes he wins you games. And here's my epiphany, dude. A lot of the guys in our core can either win you a game or lose you a game. Skinner. Same thing. Nurse. Same thing. Bouchard. Honestly, if Ekholm doesn't show up, he doesn't have very many poor ones. But when he does, same thing. Now, Dry and McDavid don't cost you many games. But isn't this really highlighting how much we rely on those 2 guys? Which is really what we've all known all along. But can we have that many of the people of our core of our team be sometimes you win a game with them, sometimes you lose a game with them?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on with this team that you can't put your finger on, though. And at the end of the day, like, and I keep saying this, like, they started late. They started 3 games into the season. Who's got the best last 10 games in the Pacific Division right now? The Oilers do. 6-3-1. There's, best after that 5-4-1, right? Like, and I said last week, and I said the week before
And that's
that,
an ugly best 10.
yeah, but I said the whole time, as long as they go 6-3-1 for the rest of the year,
Every 10 games.
every 10 games, they're in the playoffs. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're going to do. This is a 6-3-1 team with a really piss poor PDO.
Yeah, their PDO sucks.
Yeah, and,
Like bad.
and look, there's lots of things going on.
They're also
and who
playing
knows
like
what
a
they are,
perimeter
but-
team, and they're also, yeah, you're right. Like there's,
yeah. I mean, they I said this last broadcast, and some stranger will remember. And there's, and Quaddy, I think, was making fun of me, but I said, like, Zach Hyman needs to be wider, right? And what does Louis say on the thing? Exactly what I said, almost word for word. I said he needs to be a wall out there.
yeah.
And
Well, Gregor's
next
stealing.
game, Louis, like, clearly he's been listening to me, because that's all he's talking about. Zach Hyman needs to be a wall out there. He's not been a wall this year. Like, so many chances for Hyman have gone through him this year.
Yeah.
Where last year you couldn't, like, he was the best goalie on the team. Right.
Yeah.
But at the other
Yeah.
post, right? Like they were banking off of him. You know what? I went and I looked for Zach Hyman goals after I had the podcast last week. I went and looked at Zach Hyman goals, and there he was. Like, he just seemed wider, like stuff, like everything hit him and went into the net. And part of me wonders if I'm watching him now.
Breaking news: Zach Hyman has new shin pads.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if he's not just trying to do too much.
Well,
right? Like, is he trying now to do in one motion into the net? Do you know what I mean? Like, just slight changes. Who knows?
okay. Well, twofold answer there, I think, honestly. Is he trying too hard? I'm gonna put that one on the back burner. Friend of Oilers Live, friend of heavy hockey, Bruce McCurdy, mentioned on his podcast, The Cult of Hockey. Make sure you check that out. Mentioned that the Oilers are down like over 35% or something in shot volume, 5v4, 5v3 this year. Like, they were at 62 shots per 60, 5v4, and now they're at like 41 or something shots per 60, 5v4. Zach Hyman is going to benefit from more shots on net. Point blank simple. Now, has he been affected by PDO? Of course he has. Hit the crossbar the other night or whatever. Like, there's just so many times. Like, McCurdy also followed that up by saying that Zach Hyman is also in the top 10 in the NHL in involvement with high danger scoring chances. So there's your puck luck in a nutshell right there. Obviously. Is he trying too hard? Okay, well, I got a little statement I'm going to make later, and maybe you want to tell me I'm wrong later on, but I think that Four Nations Cup might be creeping in on a few guys, man. Right? There's 3 fringe players. 3 Skinner, Bouchard, and Hyman. Maybe they'll make the team. And look at those guys this year. Is that pressure getting to them? Are they thinking about that? I don't know. Is that maybe why he's squeezing his stick? Is he trying too hard? Is he just not getting the shot volume he's used to? Is the power play just not running like it used to? Now the power play is catching up. Penalty kills certainly catching up. Like
Yeah,
they
well,
like 0
there's
for
no
12 or something.
no
now.
other way to go but up on that.
That's
I mean,
fair.
it was awful.
So I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question really. It depends. That's a cool
Yeah,
answer,
I mean,
right?
it's hard to say, right? Like there's a lot of guys, Adams on hockey today. He says, look, like people are saying Bouchard's been awful this season. And I am not a stats guy. I kind of watch, like I'm more of a watching guy, but Corsi 4%, third, expected goals for, sixth. These are with D with 100+ minutes played. Scoring chances 4%, fifth. High danger chances 4%, fourth.
Is this 5v5 or is this all situations?
I must be all situations. On ice shooting percentage, 135th. On ice save percentage, 163rd.
Yeah.
So
there's
that
a
tells
bunch.
you what the PDO is going to be, 168th,
Yeah.
right? So there's 200 out of 215 skaters. So look at puck luck, whatever. Anyway, I mean, puck luck though at some point just becomes an excuse, right? Like at some point, and we're getting close to that. The positive
Puck
thing
luck
with the
affects
Oilers
confidence.
is it does. You're 100% right.
And
But
then
the Oilers have
confidence
got to
affects,
get through it. And thankfully, the Oilers have McDavid and they got Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, the reason I
and
asked you
they
whether
can
those
get through it.
stats were 5v5 or
It
all
does matter.
situations
Absolutely.
is
I
because if it was 5v5, I think that says something. If it's all situations, I don't think there's not a human on hockey's God green earth that's not going to put some sort of argument down that he's going to be a product of the power play with a lot of those high danger scoring chances. If you're going to be the D man or the point man or the quarterback of the Oilers power play, you're just going to get a lot more of those chances. And that's just the bottom line. Now, I say that because Evan Bouchard just got his third power play point of the season. Third.
Yeah,
We're
great.
20 games in. No, you had 10 or 11 or something at this point last year, and we thought he had a slow start. Right? So, this isn't the Evan Bouchard that was breaking NHL records for power play points and the amount of games in the playoffs. Like he's call it a hangover like everybody else or whatever. Is he playing like shit? I don't know. This is Evan Bouchard. Reed Wilkins said it. This is who he is. Accept it. He's gonna absolutely undress a top pairing defenseman in Shabbat some nights, which is an awful look on Shabbat. Or in some nights he's gonna get undressed. That's Evan Bouchard. Take your 82 points. Take your 5 games he's gonna cost you.
Yeah,
He's what he is.
he is not the defensive liability though everybody makes him out to be, right? Like and I know you know that. I'm not talking to you.
Statistically, on average, but does he make a boneheaded play 5 times a year that might cost you a game? Yep.
Yeah. So there's, so that's Bouchard, right? Like we got Bouchard, we got Hyman struggling, we got guys struggling. Even for that matter, Skinner's numbers are not awful. He's not had a chance to play the last few games. I think he's averaging like 11 minutes a night. Almost like second least on the team. What's your view? I mean, so here's the thing. Like I look at, this is Knobloch. Other coaches have done blenders far sooner than Knobloch is. Like he's holding on to something. Now, having said that, I mean the Oilers are, as I keep saying, they're 6-3-1. Like they're still winning games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're still going out there and winning games. How? I don't know. I here's the thing that I went. This is before the last 2 games, but since October 15th or 18th or whatever, after they lost those 3 games, they were like 6th or 7th in points standings in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were one of the top 7 teams from points wise in the league since they lost those 3 games. What was interesting to me was their their shots were among the league's top of the league on average. So we're
Mhm.
talking about shot totals.
Mhm.
They're like shots must be down in the league in general. They were second in shots for per game, and they were like second or third in shots against, like on the positive side,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm. I know what you mean.
yeah,
They're
and
getting a lot of shots. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
low
and
in the
to
power
me,
play,
that's a
but
PDO buster, right? Like you get a lot of shots
yeah.
for, and reduce the amount of shots against, and you're going to bust the PDO.
Look
Your
at that a
PDO
little
is going to be
further though,
awful,
Michael. I'll
right?
challenge you.
Yeah.
Look at that a little further. Break down shots. Go to either Natural Stat Trick or something else, and have a look at the low danger shots, medium danger shots, and high danger shots. We are number one in the NHL in low danger shots. We are number one in the NHL at medium danger shots. Yeah, we're getting a ton of shots to the net. We're a perimeter team.
Yeah,
We're a
I
perimeter
mean that
team.
was I think in there are instances for sure. Like the Montreal, I look, everybody's upset about the Montreal game. That Montreal could not have played that game any better. Like Montreal played a team defense game that like I'm
Yeah.
not sure, like it felt like they were playing Red Rover out there, the way that Montreal had the wall in front of the net there, and they just you couldn't get anything inside, right? I don't think the Oilers, they didn't respond well to that. We need to. My challenge is this is not last year's team, right? And they're playing the same style as last year's team. You know, like the guys that are on the
Kind of,
squad are
man.
just
Kind of.
they're just not the same.
They're kind of playing the same. The big dogs are playing the same. Again, man, I'll challenge you. I don't think we've changed over 20, 30% of our roster.
That's what I'm saying. Is the
Those guys
team's not
aren't
the
playing
same.
like
You
they
can't
played
play the
last year.
same style.
We lost 3 of our 4 toughest guys. We lost 3 of our 4 fastest
100%.
guys, right? Like we're trying to get shit done. That look at what Joe just said, like agreeing with me. It's not going to magically improve when we are very perimeter. And like I love that you're saying, yeah, we get 20% more shots than the other
Well,
team on average.
My point's
Who
not about.
cares
My
if they're
point's
all
not
from the
about.
blue line?
Yeah, my point's that's the PDO buster. That's
But it's
my point.
not.
It
It's
is a
not
PDO
almost. That's
buster.
like,
That
well,
busts the
it
PDO.
is.
That
But
makes that's exactly why they're winning games and their PDO is low. Because they're getting shots and so your PDO is going to be low if you're not getting great shots. But look, like you're saying the same thing, which is they've changed the squad. But I think they're trying to play the same style with a different squad. That's not going to work. Arvidsson's a different player. Skinner's a different player, right?
Yep.
And maybe you're right about this Four Nations Cup. I mean, if you take some of these new players in, you put them in. You're not even getting the puck out of the zone the same way that you did last year.
No.
Right? Like, so defense are different.
No.
Like, we know how much that affected the game, during McDavid's original a couple of years with
For
the
sure.
Oilers, right?
Not being
Like,
able to
if
get
you
the
don't,
puck out of our own end.
yeah, if you can't get the puck, cleanly out of your zone, then you got a problem.
Basically, it would be really nice to have a young puck mover, maybe a Swede, and like a veteran, like an old veteran Canadian or something that can calm things down, maybe help you on the PK, maybe do a little bit of everything. Oh, like Broberg and Cece. Hey, 2 guys like that.
Well, I
That'd be
called
good.
the Broberg thing. I mean, he's never played a full 80
Still,
games,
man,
but he'd be, yeah.
I don't know. And maybe that's a good transition, right? Because that's what the city's talking about today. I don't know. Maybe you've had your head up a camel's butt, but it's now the trade talk doors are flooded open, right? It's
well, I think Stauffer is the guy that really sort of started that, right?
Well,
Like,
but
when
also
he mentions
because
it,
Elliot
Stauffer
Friedman was
doesn't
on his
mention
show.
anything on on
But
Sportsnet.
Stauffer mentions it because Elliot Friedman is literally on his show saying that the Oilers are right in the midst of right, and now Saravelli's releasing his top target lists, and there's a bunch of defensemen on there, and then Stauffer puts out one of his cryptic tweets like he always does, saying, I don't know, what did this one say? We might not get a right-handed shooting defenseman, but we'll probably get somebody that's good playing the left, that's good playing the right side, that has term, that's a good puck mover, that can play the top four.
Who is it?
And then you go look at the lists. Well, there's Matheson in Montreal, which would be fabulous. Provorov's out there. I don't know. There's Juracek, former first-round pick, was just sent down to the minors and apparently is out there. Cam Fowler's out there. Brandon Carlo's out there. All those guys would fit that. Provorov's on the block. All those guys would fit that. Not all of them have term. Not all of them are left-handed, but if you start to narrow it down, looks a lot like Matheson or Provorov.
Well, I mean, we got a good taste of Matheson the other day.
Mm-hmm. He's good, man.
I mean, there'd be nothing wrong with him. I mean, and you talk to any Canadiens fan, and they love Matheson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's one of the best at defending with his feet. He proved that against our big stars. How many teams have shut out McDavid and Draisaitl this year? And he was a part of that. He's got a great first pass. Yeah. And ultimately, what are we looking for? We're looking for a partner for Nurse.
Yeah.
And what does Nurse thrive in? Right? Nurse has played his best when he was a top pairing defenseman with Barrie. What's Barrie? A puck-moving defenseman with a good first pass. He played really well with Bouchard at the beginning of last year. What's Bouchard? A puck-moving defenseman with a good first pass. Played really good in the playoffs with Broberg. What's Broberg? The puck-moving defenseman with a good first pass. Nurse thrives with that. So I could see Matheson's a huge land. I'll dance a jig if that's who we get. Provorov, well, whatever. I think he's good. Maybe comes with some baggage, or maybe he's just so staunch in his beliefs. That's what we need. I don't know. I'm not going to sit and argue about that, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. Or does Stan Bowman try to hit a home run like we did with Ekholm? Can we get Erik Karlsson out of Pittsburgh? Is Seth Jones, is that a big enough win for us? Is that the right-handed top four guy we want? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Seth Jones anywhere near this team.
Or Caleb.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd rather see Caleb, but I just I don't know what it is about Seth Jones, but he just seems to bring something to the team that's not what I want on this team.
I think we need two teams retaining, because if we play anywhere close to 9 for him, I'd be upset. But, Rasmus Anderson would probably be my top pick if I had.
Oh, yeah. As much as I hate Anderson, I mean, there's a reason I hate him.
Of course,
he would definitely be. He'd definitely be up there. Yeah, like Matheson or Anderson. I just can't. The Flames are not going to trade Anderson right away. So if something was to happen right away, certainly wouldn't be that. Unless if they're like,
man, Conroy wanted to blow that thing up, and now they're overperforming. That'd be a good way to stop the momentum. I mean, they're trying to tank and they're winning.
Yeah. I mean, their goaltending has been outstanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vladar and Wolf have been outstanding.
Wolf's got to be a Calder candidate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Matheson though, like Anderson, Matheson would be my top pick. I mean, I've talked to a few Canadiens fans about him, and they love him. He's got only 1 year left, so he's not gonna.
Yeah, get a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
What else do we
he's not
need?
going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right. But, I think that shores up the defense. Like you have one decent guy that, like Matheson and Nurse comes back. Um, yeah, I think that's good. Like, look, some of these guys, I think this is a good time for some of these defensemen to get in there and show their stuff. What did I read? Nurse might be back on Saturday.
Yeah.
They sent Brown down. So somebody's coming back. Arvidsson, probably. I think. I really don't think Hyman's hurt. I mean, they
I hope
haven't
not.
said anything yet.
If not, they'll probably have to call up Noah Felt. He just had a
Yeah.
4-point night.
I hate this 11-7. Like Quaddy talks about it.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
I remember when Woodcroft did it originally, and I think it's fine when you don't have two superstars, right? Like, because it's just too easy to go back to them, right? Like it's too
Mhm.
easy. He's right. Like you
I'll
burn out the top guys, right? Yeah.
I'll disagree with you again. I don't know if it's. Did you say it's easier with two top guys or harder with two top guys? Sorry.
No, I think it's I think
I think it's
no,
easier with two top guys
no,
because
it
then
is
you can
easier, but I
rotate
think
them through the
it's
other.
too easy to play them, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like
I'm sorry. I
that's the easy
understand. Okay.
decision. If you're going 11 and
Yeah.
7,
Right. Gotcha.
then what are
You're
you
too
gonna
easy to
do?
match up now.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you play
I
McDavid and
mean, like it
Draisaitl? And
worked.
they'll take it. McDavid and Draisaitl love the ice time.
It worked for some artificial wins, I think, under the Woodcroft regime and Manson regime there. But ultimately, I mean, what was the first message we heard when Knobloch first came in?
No more
Oh,
11
now we all have accountability. Now we all have a role, right? Derek
Yeah.
Ryan's like, oh, I finally know what I do on this team,
Yeah.
right? And that's a big part. Is like when you're playing 11-7, it's really hard to get other guys going.
Yeah.
So
Some
stranger think they'll play the new guy right away. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't
He's
see
got a
them.
heartbeat and he breathes, so that's helpful.
You know what I like?
They can't send him down like you can.
No, they can't because they'll go back on.
He's got to go back on waivers.
Yeah.
Whereas nobody's gonna pick up Brown, and they both make $1 million.
Yeah, it's funny, like how many folks get in there and they're like, "Why would we take Kapanen? He's got no goals." I'm like, well, nobody else on the Oilers has any goals. Like you're not
Because he's an NHL player with a heartbeat.
Yeah, and
Like,
we need
somebody to
$1
skate.
million. He's got a little bit of speed. Like,
are we gonna go 10-8?
Yeah,
right. Like we need forwards.
I mean, yeah,
I think it's been pretty.
I didn't get the criticism. I think like you get a guy like that for next to nothing, right? Like who like he's he's a little less than maybe like a Fogle type player, but he's around a Fogle type player.
I don't know, whatever. He's got a 20-goal season under his belt. He's good in the COVID season for Pittsburgh. Like, I don't know, whatever. He's a guy that's played his way on and out of every single lineup he's ever been on. So, yeah, I'm sure history tells us like the other 5 teams, he'll do the exact same thing for us. Yeah. Really what it comes down to is that our organization has made it pretty clear they're leaving our youth in the minors. Like this could be a Savoy call-up. This could be a Phelp call-up. Phelp can play the fourth. Savoy can play that spot in the top 6 but it's clear they want to keep him down there and keep him developing and bring in NHL caliber players right now. Without
here's why. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that they're just youth. I think this has everything to do with you've got Hyman not scoring, you've got Nuge not scoring, you've got Bouchard who's not scoring, you've got Henrique who's not scoring. Like, do you really want to bring in Savoy and just have him be one of those not scoring wingers or like players on the team?
Well, I don't know until you try.
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't want to expose him to that. Like, I wouldn't want to expose it, especially in a situation where the Oilers are still, grilling out a couple wins, right? Like, we're not in a, maybe if they kept going past that 0-3 start, then maybe the wheels are off and you got to try anything. But the wheels aren't off right now. They're not great. Like things
but
are
we
not
got
great. But
but
the
we got
wheels aren't.
shitty habits. And what
Yeah,
why
so
expose
why
expose
expose
youth
those
to your
guys?
shitty
Yeah.
habits?
Why expose? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
I
Like
know. Yeah.
don't do that, right?
I'm
So
just saying there's an argument for it. I'm not saying I said that's why they got Kapanen. He's got a heartbeat. He's an NHL quality player. He can help out on the penalty kill a little bit.
my point is though, I think
NHL experience.
it's not so much about not wanting to bring the youth up. I think it's about not wanting to bring the youth up right now.
Well,
yeah, like
is that not
yeah
the same thing ultimately? Like,
I think if the
little from
Oilers
column
like
A, little
as
from
a
column
team
B. I
were
don't know that
doing
they're
better,
mutually exclusive.
if the Oilers as a team were doing better, I think they'd bring all those guys up if they needed them. Like if if Hyman and Nuge were firing on all cylinders and Arvidsson's out, then you bring in Phil, right? Like that you got this positive. I'm actually surprised the Oilers are doing as well as they're doing. Like there's got to be like, it's got to be a shitty feeling.
Yet in the same breath, the PDO's got to improve. So like, what the hell, right? And then we've got Podkolzin on the top line. I didn't mind it. I don't know. A lot of people crying about that too, right? And I mean, like, what are you going to do when nobody's scoring, like you just said? Well, he doesn't have any goals. Well, 2/3 of our forwards don't have any goals, right? Like Podkolzin's doing the things that are hard to do. He's doing the things that nobody really likes to do, right? There's a reason that Draisaitl always wanted Yamo on his line, right? Because he'd go retrieve pucks. He'd go into the corners. Here, I'm going to tell you a little story. This is we're going to take you back here, okay? 1995, 1996. This guy right here, he's playing senior hockey in Saskatchewan. This Mike Dashney guy. And he's a third line player, usually. Sometimes he gets a little second line minutes here and there. But no matter what line Dash plays on, he contributes because he's scrappy, he's tenacious, he goes after everything in the corner, he tries to lay the body to absolutely everybody he sees. And every single time he gets the puck, he just dishes. Dish, dish, dish. All I ever tried to do was be a good line mate. I didn't care about carrying a line. I knew I couldn't carry a line. But almost every year, I'd end up with close to a point a game, mostly assists. Probably a lot of them were second assists. But there was a lot of hits, and there was a lot of separating man from puck. And I ended up on a team. We were playing in Dysart, Saskatchewan. And we were one of the bottom guys, or one of the bottom teams in the league, which is why a player like me might actually get top line minutes. But they experimented with me on the top line, playing with a player, Dean Roach. Check his stats. He played with the LeBret Eagles in the SJHL, and I think he had like 200 points in 60 games or something like that in the SJHL. Went on and played a little bit of pro down south. Also not one of the easiest guys to play against, and caused a lot of hell out there. And so he liked having a guy like me on his line mate to stick up for him. So he lobbied the coach to have me play on his top line. And sure enough, I started piling up assists. And we're at a point in the end of the year where we had to win 11 of our last 12 games to make it into the playoffs. And we got a guy that had just left the U of R Cougars, Kelly Markwart. He played 4 years with the Pats, 1 year with the Blades, and 5 years with the U of R Cougars. So, 10 years of playing WHL and CIU hockey. And they throw him up on our left wing. And right away, there's some other guys that were clowning. Why is Dash on the top line? He shouldn't be playing with our new star. Everybody should get a chance to play with him. Shouldn't be me. And after one game, Markwart said, "No, Dash is staying on our line. I don't care." And it was this exact same situation. It's because those two guys could pile up points like you wouldn't believe, because I was the guy going in the corner and dishing the puck. I was the guy going and separating the puck from the defenseman and dishing it from behind the net. Podkolzin reminded me so much of my younger self. I was loving it. And like maybe there was a part of me that was just because it was that memory. I loved him on that top line. I honestly thought that was awesome. Just go bang, go play fetch. And he wouldn't be there if Draisaitl wouldn't want him there. And he's played. He's earned it. I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not as big a Bud Colson fan as you. I like, other than the last couple of games, I thought he's been mediocre.
I don't know.
I think there's going to be a point at which Draisaitl says like, put the put the puck in the and yeah, put the puck
Well,
in the net.
Sure. Start
Right?
start with Hyman.
Yeah.
Start
Oh,
with
yeah, absolutely. Like there's a start with everybody on here, but Bud Colson's like, other than I'd say the
Well, none,
last couple of games. I mean, he's not even putting points on the board, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, but none
Yeah.
of those guys are scoring. Pod Colson's hitting. Pod
Yeah.
Colson's forechecking.
Yeah.
Pod
Yeah.
Colson's
I just think
late.
that I think that's fine for now. Like, because who else are you gonna have? Right? Like nobody's doing shit. So I think this is less about Pod Colson and more about the state of the team in general.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
for the record, we won 12 in a row and we made it to the playoffs that year in Dysart. Okay. So Pod Colson can do it. He can stay there all year.
Yeah. I mean, I think and honestly, I thought it would have happened already, but if the team can turn it around, Pod Colson will be it, and that's Pod Colson. I mean, you talk about Kapanen, like Pod Colson's the same thing. Like he's, they wanted so much out of him in Vancouver. And like I remember listening to broadcasts and watching him, and they'd have this like real like Pod Colson's coming, and the same way we used to talk about Yamo until we got really freaking tired of watching him just not succeed anymore.
Yeah.
The same
Or
reason why
Puljujarvi.
Yamo's, running on waivers now, right? Like,
Puljujarvi,
we could have
same
picked him
thing.
up for nothing. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I think for a while that's great. I think
All
especially with
former
the
first
team.
round picks, by the way.
Yeah. And like a team like this right now that's doing what they're doing, Pod Colson's you're probably, well, no, you're not probably, you are right. Like that's
Clip
what they
it.
need. And then as you know, I mean, I've been tracking his stats since the first game they had a fighting major, right? Like they're 6-0 with the fight, right?
Whatever.
Like,
You stole that from
yeah.
Gregor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And look at what Brown did, right? Stepped right out there, took some
Yeah.
punches to the head. What a fight, eh?
Oh,
I'm just gonna throw my watermelon out there. Just, hit it as many times as you want. But if you hit it, I'm gonna hit you. That was like gladiator stuff, man.
Skinner's coming up in the chat. And we were gonna talk about Skinner.
Skinner needs to play with guys with a high IQ. Skinner's the type of guy that makes any line he plays with better, but he doesn't drive a line. And not in the same way as Pod Colson. That's not what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
he's a complimentary player. And right now I see Knobloch trying to get other lines going. So he's like, well, how can I make that line better? Well, I'll put Skinner on it. Whereas I think Skinner would be best served to just probably play McDavid's wing. Like his hockey IQ is really, really like obvious to me. I think the way that he darts in and out of traffic is very unique. Whether it's his skating style, whether it's his deceptiveness and the way he does it, there's something like really cool and tricky about the way that now you see him, now you don't. And it's almost always in the right spots. But that can also drive you nuts because it makes you look like a perimeter player. It makes you look soft, right? If you're not driving a line, then what are you doing? So it also takes time for players to find chemistry with new teams. We find that all the time. All the time. Look at Connor Brown last year.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of that too. I don't hate Skinner's game. I think he probably could use a better chance.
Well, that's my biggest problem here. And like, Knobloch's been
Needs more opportunity.
good. He needs more opportunity. You can't have a guy like Skinner. I don't know. Like to me, this feels like more than just not playing good defense. Because everybody else is having the same problem Skinner's having. And the numbers don't actually bear out the amount of minutes he had. And if you go back to when he was playing on Draisaitl and McDavid's line, you know what? It was like he wasn't dragging him down. And here's a guy who's averaged about 11% shooting percentage and is down like 5% or something like that.
Yep.
Like, again, puck luck, number of other things, but you can't, like, you're not going to fix that by putting them 11, 12 minutes a night.
I mean, anybody that expected Jeff Skinner to come here and score 30 goals like he has in the past needs to probably give their head a shake anyways, because there's almost zero chance he was getting power play time with that top unit.
Yeah.
And without a player like Jeff Skinner getting power play time, you're just not going to be that productive. You're not, the 60, 70 point seasons are not attainable because there go the 20 to 30 power play points. So he's probably going to be a 30, 40 point guy. And that's probably the best we can ask out of him.
Well, and now, I mean, there's no way it's not going to happen now, but we
just changed too many pieces of the puzzle, in my opinion. And like if they don't have a hangover, then they don't have chemistry. It's just like nobody's able to find it yet. I don't know. We say this every bloody year, man, but it's a weird season. It's a weird season.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no such thing as a.
But we have a record that shows well based on how we played. Like, how's that possible to both exist?
Yeah. I mean, the record is like if you had, because I don't think they're playing much better than they did the first 20 games of last season, if not worse in some regard, right? Like they just, there were bright spots in the first 20 of last season, which is why they broke out, right? Like a lot of people called it. PDO was a big challenge again last year. Something
a lot of
happened.
People called it. Some guy called undefeated January.
That's right. Well, call it again, damn it.
No, it's not possible. Not the one. It's not there. Well, look, let's take a bunch of listener participation because I want their opinions here. Be honest, be harsh, but let's shift into our segment here, buddy. You didn't really answer me, so I'm going to say it again, but I'm going to say it with a statement, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong or not. But I think the three fringe players for the Edmonton Oilers, Skinner, Hyman, and Bouchard, are feeling the pressure of needing to make the Four Nations Cup. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
Their play.
I think you're wrong. I don't think that. I mean, maybe it had something to do with the start. It's out of their mind right now. These guys are worried about, like, they're just gripping a stick. Maybe that's what started it, but nah, I don't think it even plays into their head right now.
Okay, whether it plays into their heads or not, there's going to be people making those teams. Let's stay with the Four Nations Cup theme. Montembeault just stole Stuart Skinner's job at the Four Nations Cup in Montreal 2 games ago. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think Stuart Skinner was a lock. So, no, I that's why I like. So I think you're wrong, but not for the reason that Montembeault stole it. I think you're wrong that Skinner had a job to begin with. I think out of everybody that you mentioned, I think out of everybody you mentioned, Skinner had to earn his way on there, and he hasn't done it yet.
I mean, nobody was saying Montembeaul's name last year.
No, right? So maybe, it's again, like Montembeault took somebody's job. I just don't know if it was Skinner's to begin with, right? Like, yeah. Montembeault's been outstanding. Like,
stole them games, no doubt about it. Big Uke, thanks for chiming in. He's fine with Stu not going. I've been saying that all year. Stu played 82 games or 90 games last year or whatever, and he's never played anywhere close to that. Now we're going to ask him to do that again this year. Like, we're not asking Picard to play 40. So that means we're asking Skinner to roll out another 55, 60 and then the playoffs. So do we really need him to play the Four Nations Cup? I agree. And you said he's fine with no other Oilers going other than Connor. Totally agree with that. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, did Montembeault steal his job? I don't know. I mean, it's a backup position because I think it's Bennington's job to lose. With Doug Armstrong being the architect of that team and Bennington probably being the most decorated Canadian goalie there right now. I don't know, that's probably where it starts, anyways. Okay, let's shift back to the Oilers D. I'll take. I don't think I agree with this, but I'll just take the stance. The Oilers need to trade for a goalie before the deadline, before they need to trade for a defenseman. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. You're wrong. I mean, what you think about the goalies or otherwise, you have to shore up your defense first. Like it doesn't matter who you put in behind these defense. Like they're not going to.
Montembeault's stealing games for Montreal. Why can't we get a goalie that steals games for us, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is not. Montembeault's also got fewer guys that are flying out of the zone at the rate that the Oilers are flying out of the zone. It's a team defense game, right? So the Oilers need solid D more so than a team like Montreal, right? Like when you got guys that look like we're just talking about Jeff Skinner, right? Like Anyway, I like it's just you got to get.
What if we could trade for Wedgwood? What if we could trade for Logan Thompson? And then you've got a two-headed monster that plays their way.
No, like before the D. No, I just think it's silly.
No? Okay.
I just think you have to figure out the defense situation, and then Skinner took you to the 7th game last season. Whether you like him or not, he still got you there. And I'm not the biggest Skinner fan.
No, yeah.
But I still, there's no way I would rate at this point. And look, Picard, I think has been pretty decent as a backup this year. I don't mind his game. Yeah. Skinner needs to be.
Stu gets injured down the stretch. How do you feel about Pickard being our?
How does anybody feel about their top goalie though getting?
Well, I don't know. Ask the Vegas Knights when they won the cup with 5 goalies, Michael. One of them being Logan Thompson.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that just doesn't happen. And the Knights had superb defense. Superb. Like they're,
Look, I agree that the Oilers will live and die with Stu. I think we should live and die with Stu. I made the statement at the end of the day. If we had Logan Thompson as a backup, it's not a terrible thing. I'm not sure it's a priority. Okay, another thing that's being argued. I'll throw somebody under the bus that I don't mind throwing under the bus, but Mr. Yaremchuk over at Oilers Nation is saying that we don't have the chips to make trades. We don't have trade chips this year. So Oilers Nation seems to kind of be on that bandwagon. I'd argue Savoy is one of the better prospects, that you could trade out there that's, potentially NHL ready right now.
Yeah.
We've got a 2026 first. We've got O'Reilly. We've still got Bo Akey. I'd say we have enough trade chips to make a big deal and bring in a big defenseman. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, what kind of defenseman are the Oilers going to bring in anyway? They're not bringing in another Ekholm.
Yeah, no, that's what we need, dude. No, yes, that is what they want to do. That is what we need to do. We need to find that Ekholm trade again, Michael. That is exactly what we need to do.
It's not existing right now.
Matheson's close.
Right?
Matheson's close. That's a 60-point defenseman. That's a 24-minute-a-night guy.
Matheson's damn good.
Guy that can play the right side. That's a guy that's
Anderson
can defend with his feet.
Anderson would be a hell of a big deal.
Yeah, Anderson.
Yeah.
Provorov's
and you know what? Calgary and Montreal have, assuming Calgary goes the way that they should be going. They need youth, right? Like they're in a rebuild. So the Oilers have chips for that.
Here's a hot take.
Yeah.
What if Nashville keeps sinking? What if we do this again to Nashville? Take Ekholm and then take Yossi.
Yeah.
Think we can get Yossi?
would be
Like, that's a
Yossi
game
would be-
changer.
Yossi would be a game changer, 100%.
Would be a guy you could wiggle loose.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. But maybe.
Yeah, I mean the Oilers have the chips. They'll figure out a way to get it done, and they have to, right? Like there's no, they'll figure something out. Somebody will be upset about it. It won't be me. Oilers need to change their D up, a little bit. I like nobody gives Nurse enough credit. Like our top 3D are pretty damn good. You add a fourth pretty damn good defense, and the whole league will start talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly why Anderson's not on the table for us today, right? Yeah, because that makes, like, Matheson makes all the difference in the world on this team, 100%. And Montreal could give a shit how the Oilers do, right? Like they don't care.
Oh, boy, Big Uke. Yeah, I mean, you guys are nailing it in the chat. There's no doubt Yossi is a wet dream. I get it.
No.
You know what? Ekholm was a wet dream that year too. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not impossible, you guys. It's pretty much impossible, but it's not impossible.
If the Oilers wait long enough, there's a lot of stuff that happens. That's why, like, I'm not convinced the Oilers are in a big rush until something goes one way or the other. Right? Like,
according to all the biggest insiders in our game, action is heating up. The phones are on fire right now. Right?
Like, wouldn't you be
what
stupid
if Matheson
not
and
to pick up the
Provorov
phone?
get traded in the next month? Then we waited too long.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I can't remember who said it, but people said, like, Holland used to say it all the time. Like, he's always on the phone, right? Like, he's always talking to somebody. Like, they're always
Holland always used to say, up and down like a toilet seat.
Yeah.
Check the official guide and record book. What did Holland used to say back in the day in Detroit?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Back in the
Tell
day.
me, Michael. What did he used to say?
But these guys, every GM is going to be talking to every GM. Like, if the Oilers aren't talking right now, then they're not doing their job, right? Like, there are problems in this team, and they're talking. And that's exactly what Friedman's talking about. The Oilers have probably called 10, 15 different teams. And if they didn't, then they should be fired. Right? Like, the team's not playing 100%. Nurse is out, and he's maybe back Saturday, but is he 100% when he's back? Do we know? You never know from a head injury.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
so
for sure.
So, like, if they're not talking, it's dumb. Like, I'm not convinced it serves the Oilers' purposes to this one.
And a huge part of it is what Quaddy just brought up that I never even thought about actually in the moment is we haven't accrued enough cap space yet. Right? So now we're fighting this, we need to accrue enough to get a value enough player, but if we wait too long, that valued player might be gone. And right? Like, where's that sweet spot where you find somebody to retain enough salary, get a guy with some term, and you know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, Stranger, Friedman's vague as hell. So is everybody else right now. Like, I think Saravelli's vague. I think Stauffer's throwing out, whatever. But so we do have the trade chips, or we don't? Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh no, we definitely do. I mean, we've got youth. We've got some youth in the system. Savoy being one of them. I mean, people would be stupid not to have a look at Philp. There's guys there. If the Oilers are serious, they've got stuff in the hopper. It's a question of, and that's the other reason why I don't think they're gonna, like, they'll wait. Like, right now the price is high, right? And because they
Mhm.
don't have the accrued space to do anything without something going out, right? And so somebody's got to go out, unless if look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody really wants Skinner, right?
Jeff?
Yeah, yeah. Like if somebody really wants Jeff Skinner, then given what Knobloch obviously feels about him, right? Then I could see that happening. But who? But who's going to take a guy that's not scoring right now, right? Like there's got to be some solid reason that you would go after that. There's no value that he brings. He's not a trade chip, but he's a like that's the only thing that would, I think, to me, precipitate something happening right now that would be
Yeah.
of value to the Oilers.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I shouldn't say that, but I'd be surprised if the Oilers make a trade right away, unless if, and I have this concern. I mean, we haven't. Do we know more about Arvidsson?
No, other than it wasn't supposed to be this long.
Yeah, and those injuries are the ones that scare me the most.
Right.
Right?
That screams hamstring, groin.
Yeah.
Like something you think's a tweak, and then it just keeps nagging and nagging and nagging.
And nobody has any information, right?
Well,
Nobody
I mean,
even knows.
Nobody does anymore. I mean,
No. But those things scare me, right? Like when the coach comes out and says, "Oh yeah, it's day to A, could be back tonight," and then all of a sudden they're gone for 4 or 5 games. Like to me, like I wouldn't be surprised if some changes happen over the next couple of days and all of a sudden Arvidsson's on LTIR. Right? Like, there's more, and Arvidsson's coming off a big injury, right?
yep. I mean, he's an injury-prone player. Period.
Yeah. So, I'm to me, that's a curiosity for me. Like, what's going on there? Like, maybe that's precipitating all the conversation that's happening. Because actually, having Arvidsson out of the lineup, even though he wasn't doing a lot, like from a points perspective, has really hurt the way this lineup looks.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no good answer to setting up this lineup.
Yep. Yep.
Well, Kapanen, maybe. Kapanen helps.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean
the
that's a
Blues
big
put him
maybe,
on
right? We
waivers.
don't know. We don't know. We're picking up a guy off of waivers, right? So
Yeah.
So it's. But anyway, I until Arvidsson's back in the lineup, I think something's going on. Yeah, and if Arvidsson's out, then maybe a trade does happen.
Well, does that force a trade? If it's, I'll refine that statement. If it's Arvidsson and Hyman out, like if Hyman stays out of the lineup and we're still not sure when Arvidsson's back either, then that's maybe.
Yeah, no. If Arvidsson and Hyman are out, like
Cap definitely plays tomorrow,
to me that's bigger than like having McDavid out. Do you know what I mean? Like you just have such a big gap on that right side.
Yep.
And I mean, there's just nobody to fill that. God, I hope you're wrong. Joe asked, maybe you just said something. Does Cap?
Yeah, Cap's playing tomorrow for sure. Yeah.
Curious where he slots in. I mean,
it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Nothing.
I stick him on the fourth line, I think, really, and
Oilers must have had an off day, right? A league mandated off day after playing back to back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was or not, to be honest. I don't like our chances against Minnesota. I don't know. We don't fare well generally when we come home from these Eastern road trips. I don't know if it's that whole, like, I think it was either Gager or Belzy that was talking about it being like, you've been gone for 10 days and you get home and your dog needs the walk, your lawn needs the raking, your wife needs those shelves finished, your kids miss you, it's hard to come back from those trips and just, win. And Minnesota is not a team we play well against historically.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's, we've got about 25 minutes. Let's talk about this. So who do we got up next? Minnesota.
Minnesota, then the Rangers.
Rangers. Oh, jeez.
I'll call it a split. Like I don't think we play Minnesota very well. We always seem to crap the bed after these road trips. And then the Rangers is actually somebody we do play pretty well.
Yeah, and then a much needed break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't we have a break at this time last year too?
I don't know. This is a condensed schedule this year, man. Like it's
Yeah.
just different, right? With that Four Nations Cup, like it feels like there's a game every 2-3 days. And like I said, I don't know. I'm still scared of the injuries to come, dude. I really am. Like we got so lucky last year. So lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, like the Nurse injury is a fluke. McDavid, I mean, you expect one or two sort of small injuries every once in a while, and he returns like crazy. That Nurse one is completely unexpected. Arvidsson, I mean, it's like Quaddy said, we bought damaged goods, right? Like, is that unexpected? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, you hope,
You expected him to play 65 games this year. That's what he'll do.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you knew Kane was going to be out already, right? Like you knew that. And it's so having said that, I mean, the Oilers did have some injuries last year. They just happened late. Right. Yeah. But and the other thing, I mean, if you play that many games in a season, yeah, your body can't take that too long.
Well, and we just played. I mean, we've lost to the Stanley Cup champion 3 seasons in a row. That's
the Oilers have
easy
not
on your body in the playoffs.
The Oilers, though, have not been playing, and you called this. They've not been playing a rough and tumble game. So, are they getting beat up? No. I mean, the Hyman thing wasn't the best. I don't think I do think Hyman's back. I don't think he's out. If he felt even the smallest of tweaks, to your point, like this fear of injury right now, like you can't lose another player, why would you put him back? I mean, he wasn't doing anything anyway, right? And the Oilers had the game seemed like a bit of a lock, right? Like it wasn't just was running away from Ottawa. Yeah. How big is Kane of a miss on this team right now? Like how, Quaddy says if we get a healthy Kane will be a huge boost. Like how big is I mean, here's a guy like tell me an Oiler that isn't controversial. But Kane's another controversial player halfway through. This time last year, remember he got benched and then he came back, had a fight and was pretty good for a time.
Yeah.
Right. I've been waiting for that type of player, right? Like it was Knobloch waiting for Skinner to say like, I'm tired of 11 minutes a night, or is Knobloch pissed off at Skinner for something?
I think Knobloch's using Skinner to improve the bottom six, which is maybe not the right way to deploy him, but I'm not sure it's because he's not happy with his play.
I mean, I don't really think that. I mean, how much of a difference is Skinner going to make on the bottom six? Yeah. And our best line has been like outside of, the guys that are scoring, Draisaitl and McDavid, like our best players from get into the zone sort of thing, or Connor or Brown, Rico and Janmark.
Yeah.
Like they've been, if anything, they've been our most consistent line for 2 seasons now, right? Like, Brown, though, it's funny that we're not pissed off at Brown for not scoring this year. I mean, he's already scored, but he's not doing much, like a whole ton more from a offensive perspective. But now we know what to expect, and
exactly.
we're not getting this. Anyway,
Exactly.
yeah.
Joe asked if that 5 games off is the mandated bye week. Actually, I have the same question. I didn't think they had the bye weeks this year because of the condensed schedule. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels a little bit like a spring break sort of deal, right? Like it is.
But there's it's not a. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I'm not sure.
I mean, they go into
I thought I read that they didn't have
November
bye
and
weeks this
December.
year.
Like they play right after that. They play like 5 games in 8 nights, right? They play 29th and 30th, and then 3rd, 5th, and 7th.
Right.
Yeah, and then like they don't have an easy schedule up until Christmas.
I don't think they have an easy schedule all year, really. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, nobody does. I mean, that's the nature of it. As long as they stay off of Prime, I think we're all right. Visually speaking, probably had
keep fighting.
The best quote. The Oilers. What did he say? The Oilers don't deliver on Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, for all of the negative, I mean, how does it like you just, I sit and I look at this team and there's just no, like, it doesn't feel like they're a team that's in a playoff spot, does it? Really doesn't.
Nope.
And they're sitting, they're not even in the last wild card spot. They're a point above.
Yeah.
Of course, Vancouver's got points in hand, but it's been a funny year, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are teams, look at Colorado. I mean, obviously there's some injuries problems there, right? But, Colorado's struggling, right?
Mhm. The whole Pacific Division, really.
Vegas lost 3-0 to Toronto tonight.
Exactly.
Right. Like I said, the Oilers in the last 10 games have the best record in the Pacific right now at 6-3-1. So nobody's running away with it, and it's like a 1-goal game, right? Like taking a 1-goal game, dominating the play, but taking a 1-goal game into the third period, right? Like all these teams are taking a 1-goal game into the third period right now. And somebody's going to take it away.
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
We were watching that Toronto game the other night, and I said to Lori, I should open up my betting app and bet that this game goes to overtime. It's just just what the Oilers had been doing, right? Oh, we got a 1-goal lead. We might as well blow that and take this game to overtime. And so when it happened, it's like, oh, damn, I should have.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little disappointing because, you said it already, like the Oilers be Oilering is like, coming back, right? Yeah.
We've never done anything the easy way.
Yeah, they haven't. Hey, look, we need to take a 30-second break, and then we're going to come right back. I'm going to put it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
We'll take. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we will preclude the 30-second break.
I told my
Amazon made
I'll be
McDavid
okay.
cry, Quaddy says. Yeah. Yeah, hey, here's something.
Speaking of
We
McDavid
had
crying in emotion, that was pretty cool to see him thanking the crowd for 1,000 points.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Sorry, I know I cut you off there too.
No, I would like what I was gonna say is you and I, the season preview, we had the preview. You could be right about Draisaitl getting to 50. But did you have McDavid getting to 50? Nope. Like, do you think it's there now?
Maybe. Yep.
I love it. I love it. In fact, he's starting to shoot again like he did 2 years ago.
Yeah, you've been saying that. You like Rocket Richard McDavid.
Yeah. Like he's, he's going for that. I think he probably goes to the 5-hole a little bit too much, but look, McDavid's top of the league.
Who are we to argue?
Scoring, right? Like, so whatever, right?
Yeah.
We're getting primetime McDavid again, and I love it. And look, we're 6-3-1. I keep saying that 6-3-1. We do 6-3-1 all season. We're going to get into the playoffs, but you do 6-3-1 for a little while McDavid's in the prime time, like he's doing, and he's going to pull everyone along with him, and eventually things are going to turn around, right?
Yeah.
Skinner's going to get back to his 11% shooting percentage.
Yeah.
Hyman's going to get back
Yeah.
to banging pucks in the net, right? Like
Power
this
play
is,
will get better yet. The penalty
yeah.
kill will get better yet. The PD
I mean, it's
will-
all coming. Like, look at Bouchard. Like, even Nuge. That was a nice
Yeah.
little tip, right? Like that tip was not easy.
Would you be
Right?
surprised if they went on another 8-game winning streak right now?
No, I wouldn't be.
Me
I
neither.
wouldn't be at all.
Me
No.
neither.
I
It's
would
kind of
be if
setting
they
up
don't
that
get
way, you know?
like if they keep going 11-7. I think that they're destined
Yeah,
to
yeah,
burn
fair,
themselves
yeah.
out.
Yeah, well,
But no, I mean
we've got a
that's
Kapanen
you
to
got a
cure
good
that,
point.
I guess.
Yeah. You know, there and here's the other thing though to that statement is nobody's doing anything this year. Like I'm not the only team that's looked exceptional is Winnipeg.
Yeah.
You know, like the Oilers have come out and outplayed some of the top teams in the league. And to
Yeah.
me,
Oh, yeah.
like the Oilers haven't been great. And so it tells me those top teams maybe aren't as good as we think they are, right? Like you know, Bettman's probably screaming at his TV right now and saying that's you know, that's what I want in the league, right?
Yeah, parity, baby.
Parity. That's parity. Yeah.
Gotta
But
bring back the Coyotes. I don't know what he's screaming.
yeah, he's probably screaming that too. Yeah, I just don't think there's nobody running away with it right now, and I can't see Winnipeg holding on to this heater for much longer, right?
Yeah.
You know, I to be fair, I don't really believe this is Winnipeg. Like you know, it's a heater. Like they're a good team. I will give them that.
I don't know.
Are they a record breaking? You know, they broke the record fastest to 15 games. But is that the kind of team they are? Are they presidents? They might.
Yeah, I mean,
They
they
might
were.
be.
I don't know. They're second best team in the West last year, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, their goalie is won a Vezina and been the runner-up for the Vezina in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They've got
Could be the best goalie
excellent
given
top 4
any night,
defensemen.
right?
They've got 3 excellent top 3 lines that can all score. They got rid of JT Miller got rid of
went to LA, now is gone.
Pierre-Luc Dubois. Holy smokes.
Jeez.
So they got rid of some of their cancers, and you know, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know, 2 guys that are I just don't think get enough credit. They do get a lot of credit, but just not enough credit, I think. Ehlers and Kyle Connor. Like those 2 guys are top players. Yeah. And Velarde, I said that when he went there, like LA lost that whole deal. I mean, man. I like Velarde is just a character play. I would love to see him.
I don't know what they were thinking there.
Yeah.
Other than
no, you know what? You're right. I wasn't giving the Jets enough credit. They got a solid Well, I mean, Kyle Connor's a superstar.
The only reason I got defensive about it is because me and my brother-in-law had this same debate when we were doing our box pools at the beginning of the year, and he refused to take, you know, Hellebuck and a few of the Jets, and I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't know, I just don't believe in them. And I remember, you know, saying to him the same thing I'm saying to you, like, they got everything you need. They got one of the top 2-3 goalies in the league. They've got 4 or 5 really good defensemen. They got 3 lines that can score. They got a balanced lineup. They got a good leader in Scheifele. They got a good coach. They got, you know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, they're solid, right?
Winnipeg?
Like that's, you know, you put that against like a Florida lineup that is actually not too much different, right?
Yeah.
You know, and Winnipeg can play a big game, right? Like,
Not the Blue Bombers, the Jets.
The Jets. Yeah. Did you watch the Grey Cup?
Yeah, I got the second half. I didn't watch the first half. I think we were eating dinner or something, but
Yeah.
I popped on for the second, and then of course I thought the Jets. I thought the
Bombers.
were going to win for sure. So as soon as the Argos went up, whatever it was, 17-10 after the half or after the third quarter or whatever it was, I immediately went and like bet the Jets on the money line because I'm like, oh, they're coming back for sure. And of course they didn't, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a weird game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. It's probably one of the first years in a long time I haven't watched. I think not being in a CFL city, I just don't watch
Yeah.
as much. Like, and CFL would do really well here. I think we'd probably watch it a lot. I'm kind of curious. Like, part of me wants to get back into it a little bit because I want to see, is the product getting better? Is it,
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk football.
Well, I follow it. I spend enough time on Edmonton Sports Talk on the Hangout and whatever.
Yeah.
Maddie loves the the Elks and the CFL and
Yeah, no, well, and I
Dusty
mean,
and all
like
those guys love it,
Dusty's calling games, right? Like,
Yeah.
if he's not engaged, then I mean, if you're giving Dusty shit for talking about football, then you're clearly not paying attention. I mean, that's his life. That's his livelihood, right? Like, those guys watched Hernan's back, right? And he spent time with desks, right? The Elks.
Yeah.
So
we were talking about this similar topic on the air the other day, and it was man, I almost crashed it was the day I did the Hangout actually last Wednesday because I was driving into the studio and I heard Wyshynski say on the morning show they were talking about the New York Jets and their record and how they'd been playing, and then they were talking about the Winnipeg Jets, and I think they got confused on what they were talking about all of a sudden. And Wyshynski just said, I think the Winnipeg Jets are playing better football than the New York Jets right now, or something like that. And I didn't word it quite as eloquently, but it was damn funny.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I've been a hockey fan forever. So, I don't follow football as much and I've never followed American football, like the NFL. I watch the Super Bowl like anybody else, but that's about it. And this is the first year though I've never watched the CFL. Quaddy grew up in Saskatchewan.
I just asked him where from.
Yeah.
And I was just telling stories about playing for the Dysart Blues before I played for the Siemens Wheat Kings while I was living in Regina after playing in the Highway Hockey League for Wynyard.
Yeah. York. Well, I've
Yorkton, right down the road from Wynyard.
I've played in the Pierogi Cup a few times. So
I've also played in the Pierogi Cup. Yeah. I also tried out for the Maulers and made the team the year that they won the Centennial Cup, but I blew my knee out playing football. So I ended up not being able to move to York and not play for the Maulers. And then I tried to make the team next year, and I fought two of their toughest guys in camp. And I still have a massive scar right here because the first lefty I ever fought was Jesse Rozanzoff. And he ended up going on after the Terriers to go play for the Blades or something like that. And that same camp, I fought a guy named Lee Rusnak, who was one of the toughest guys that Yorkton's ever had in junior hockey. And he put my tooth through my lip. Nice. And then they sewed my lip back together on the bench at camp. So there you go. There's my Yorkton, Saskatchewan stories for you.
Nice. Oh, Shannon's back. We haven't seen Shannon for a while. There you go. Yeah, good crowd in the YouTube chat tonight. Those of you that are listening in on Twitter or other platforms, go to youtube.ca/heavyhockey. Make sure you subscribe. Lots of different things going on, I guess. We're going to kind of wind down here. Call it a night here right away as we finish up. It's already next day out here in Atlantic Canada. We look, we've been talking about it. March 15th, Heavy Hockey Showdown. Start talking about registration for the Heavy Hockey Showdown. I mean, we're not that far away. Closing in on 3 months away. So time to. Shannon says Josh Brown got me rolling again, and we got to get rolling again on the Heavy Hockey Showdown. So time to maybe we'll talk about getting registrations out for that right away. So those of you that are looking to play, of course, and those of you who don't know what it is, charity hockey game in support of the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. We play over at the downtown community rink. We get Rob Clark out to do the anthem. Usually get Hunter out, the mascot out to the game. Have some fans. We play Heavy Hockey plays the team from Edmonton Sports Talk.
Yep.
Yeah. Some good storylines last year.
They're excited.
Yeah.
They're trying to stack a team to beat us.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, I think. Again, I mean, it just gets bigger and bigger every year, and it's been a lot of fun. So we're going to do that again this year, March 15th, as I said.
Yep. You're in, Big Uke. You got her, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oilers. Talk about the Oilers again.
Big Uke, when else are you going to get an opportunity to take a giant piece of wood and swing it in the direction of Tom Gazzola and Dustin Nielsen? Come on. Of course you're in.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a wing eating contest. You never know. That's an inside joke.
Is he one of the ones over at Hudson's that
Yeah, Big Uke. Yeah, he's a nasty. He's a through and through.
Yeah. I remember
we've been to a few events together now.
I remember what was it Hudson's they did the listening to Gazzola, I think, on a post game or something after one of those and they had the wing eating contest or somebody eating the hot wings and then going outside 2 seconds later to dispose of their ultra hot wings.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Well,
I just know Zach Tacum was upset about the results. That's all I know.
Awesome.
I was supposed to be in that wing eating contest too.
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
All right. So Oilers only 2 games between now and next time we're on the air. They have got Minnesota and they've got the Rangers, and then they've got some time off. What are your thoughts? Both home games. I think you said they split. Who's the win? Who's the loss?
Guaranteed lose night against Minnesota. Back from the road trip. Pressure on the boys. Minnesota's flying. Something about that team, man. We just take it back to Manny Fernandez. We can never beat that team. I don't know what it is.
And your big
storyline. Rangers, we got it. We'll be back in maybe like 4-point night for McDavid against the Rangers.
Okay. Yeah. 4.9. Okay. That's your big storyline.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anything off ice storyline between now and
Oh, well, I don't know. I guess if a trade's going to happen, it might. I don't think they're hinting at it for no reason. So if I'm going to take a swing at the park, start your recorder, clip it here. Matheson's an Oiler by next week.
Okay. I say the Oilers finish 2-0 before the break. In-game storyline. I think that we see a breakout performance by I think Hyman's back, and I think we see something from him in these next 2 games.
Okay.
That makes us think that he's back. Off the ice, I will maybe just play the devil's advocate on that one. And I'll say that nothing happens. No trades. Although
call up from Condors.
I'll say this. I'll say that no trade's going to happen this week, like before we get on the air.
I just have a pretzel on the floor.
But
bonus.
I bet you we hear something about Arvidsson, and he doesn't play before next Wednesday.
Ooh. Okay.
I just have I got a bad feeling. I hope I'm wrong. I think if Arvidsson's out, just the Oilers fanatic says he
Patrick, you chime in with 1 minute left. Come on, man. Where you been for the last 90 minutes?
Right, he loves it, right?
Hey.
Mr. Positivity, Mr. Toxically Positive says the Oilers
Hey.
are going to win two in a row. All right, I mean that's our night. Any last words?
Yeah, no, man. 90 minutes flew by. I really have to pee. Thanks for almost giving me that 30-second break earlier, but
Right.
I forged through.
Let's call it out.
I may end up on the LTIR because of it, but
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
The heavy hockey health plan is fantastic.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I know if you're interested in working for heavy hockey or doing any type of stuff like we're doing, just reach out. We're growing and we're expanding, and yeah, I've already had a few messages actually, Michael, so we should probably talk about that. But other than that, no, I don't know, nothing. Patrick, great job on the rundown again. I loved your analysis on the D, and I completely agree with you as usual. I'd like to see Matheson. I don't think Pettersson's the one. Whatever it's going to be. If we got to get a defenseman now, Provorov, Carlo, let's Rasmus Anderson. Let's just swing for the fences. I just don't want it to be another like Juracek. I don't know. Where's his experience? Pettersson. I don't know. Strutty said he's a third pairing guy. I'd probably agree.
Yeah, we don't look if that would be the biggest mistake the Oilers would make. Trading for somebody that is not at a minimum a second pair.
That's right. I just don't want them to knee jerk and be like, oh, we can get Pettersson out of Pittsburgh. Let's do it. And oh, great. Our big swing was a seventh defenseman.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got to say, unless you want me to say a last word and say goodnight, but it's your show.
No, go for it. Say
No,
the
you
last
go
word,
for it.
say goodnight.
No.
We're good. All right,
Yeah.
I can. Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I
do
did
it.
last week. I said the
That's
last
right.
word right from
That's
minute
right.
1 to minute 90.
You said the first and the last word.
First and the last word. Nobody
And
got
all
a
of
word
them
in
in
last
between.
week. I interrupted everybody.
For real, good job. That was, I don't know, 90 minutes of stuff by yourself. And
Jeez, yeah.
I feel bad for leaving you on the rack there, but
It was fun. Good group of folks listening in. Thanks to everybody that listened in tonight. We had another good crowd on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Again, we do this so people listen, so that they come in and chat and take part. So, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. All right. Tell them all. Let's get more people out. Check out heavyhockey.com. Watch for registration for the Heavy Hockey Showdown. And let's go Oilers. Everybody, that's all I got. Have a good night.
good night.
Oilers Live.